don't know that, but we're going to record it and like carry on as we are. Okay, so just to remember, this meeting will be live streamed and the recording made available to you via the council's website, except for discussions involving confidential or exempt items. Therefore, the images, audio of those individuals speaking will be publicly available to all via the recording on the council's website. Okay, welcome to our corporate regeneration scrutiny committee members. We got a big agenda tonight, so I'll carry on quickly. Okay, item agenda 1, to receive apologies for absence. Is there any apologies? No apologies, right? I'm going to ask our scrutiny manager to take a roll call, please.
Scrutiny committee members and the in-persons listed by calling name, can you please indicate you're present? Councillor Mike Adams.
Present.
Sir Gary Enright.
Present.
Councillor Boyd or Councillor Crystal. Councillor Angao.
Present.
Councillor David Haas.
Present.
Leo Jeremiah.
Present.
Councillor Guy Johnson.
Present.
Councillor Jan Jones.
Present.
Councillor Steve Kent.
Yeah, I'm here.
Councillor Carroll. Councillor Denver Priest.
Present.
Councillor Colin Mann.
Apologies for having to leave early, Chair.
Councillor Amanda McConnell.
Present.
Councillor Carl Thomas.
Present.
Councillor Lindsay Little.
I'm here.
Councillor Walter Williams.
Present.
Councillor Kerry Rouse.
Present.
Cabinet members. Councillor George.
Present.
Councillor Stena. Present. And Councillor Leonard. And I think we've got any others. Councillor Morgan. That's all. Thanks, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, item agenda 2, declarations of interest. Councillors and officers, a reminder of the personal responsibility to declare any personal or traditional interests in respect of any item of business on this agenda, in accordance with the Local Government Act 2000, the Council's Constitution, and the Code of Conduct for both councillors and officers. Is there any declarations? Don't see any hands up. Okay, thank you. Agenda item 3, to approve and sign the following minutes from the Corporate and Regeneration Scrutiny Committee held on the 9th of January 2024. Okay, members, page 1. Just remember this is for accuracy only. Page 2. Page 3. Page 4. Page 5. No hands up. Have I got a mover and a seconder, please?
Move the minutes. Move the minutes, Chair.
Maybe Councillor Priest,
Second.
Councillor Thomas. Thank you very much. To the vote. Vote at the meeting, then just please abstain. Okay, thank you very much, members. Agenda item 4, consideration of any matter referred to this committee in accordance with the call-in procedure. Northern call-in members. So on to item 5, the Corporate and Regeneration Scrutiny Committee forward vote program, pages 7 to 9. Scrutiny manager, Kath?
Thank you, Chair. Members, I just highlight on Appendix 1, the next meeting of the Corporate and Regeneration Scrutiny Committee is on the 14th of May. We have an item on procurement reform. Obviously, you'll see there's no further meetings there because that's the sort of end of the municipal year. So what we'll be doing now over the next few weeks, start to develop the work programme for the following year. And obviously, we'll bring it back to you at the next meeting. So unless there's any suggestions, members, then we're going to be publishing on the agenda on the website.
Okay, there's no hand up. Can we remove in a second there, please, members? Oh, sorry, can we have a move in second there, please, members?
I'm
Move.
happy to move it, or I'm happy to second it.
second,
Awesome. Okay, to the vote then, please.
Chair, I'm not having a vote up, and I didn't have one the last time.
Oh, okay. So how did you vote both times then, David?
I was for the last one. And I'm for this time.
Chair, same happened to me, Chair. It went off halfway through on the first one, I haven't done it at all on this one, so
I know,
on
I
two
was going on.
two occasions I was for.
Anyone else having any problems? Or if you can let us know when we are voting, that would be very helpful. Okay? But we can record them touch to as well. Okay, thank you, members, that's moved. Okay, item agenda 6, to receive and consider the following cabinet reports.
I think we call forward.
Okay, nothing called forward. Did you, and pick that up, Gary?
Yeah, it was just an observation, Chair. I don't know if you've observed, but the two individuals that said they didn't have the vote, both are noted as unverified. So it could be the system doesn't recognise them. Just an observation.
Yeah, thank you. Can we maybe look into that then, see why?
It's really
Way to do it. Thank you, Gary. Okay, members, item 7. Notice of motion, yes to public consultation on scrapping first past the post. I'm going to have Councillor Etheridge is going to move the motion. Then we will have Mr. Jess Blair, Director of the Electrical Reform Society, having a say. So, Councillor, right, thank you for coming to the committee. You have 5 minutes to put forward your notice of motion.
Thank you, Councillor Johnson. Moving this actual motion, I won't read the motion. I believe we must move with the times and introduce what I believe will be a fairer system in regarding proportional representation to help democracy. The motion was actually emailed to every councillor, the 68 councillors. So I was hoping to get cross-party support. As you know from reading the report, tonight, if it is passed, it is referred to a special full council and it needs a 2/3 majority. And I really believe that this needs to be referred. So the 50 to 60 councillors can have a view on it. And I ask Scrutiny Committee to consider that. As you know, if Scrutiny Committee rejects it, it will not go to full council. So some councillors, well, the majority of councillors will not be able to give their views on it. And if I just read a paragraph from a letter which I received, it says, in the proportional list system proposed by the Senate, a political party will be able to vote forward a list of up to 8 candidates selected in each constituency. Voters will be able to see the names of these candidates on the ballot paper and the order in which the candidates would take up any seats. So this list system is going to be introduced in the next Senate elections. And that letter was sent to me personally on the 15th of January and is signed by Mark Drayford. So I just want to make the committee aware of that. Reading the report, I must say I was rather disappointed because I don't believe the report gives a balanced view. I was hoping that the officers who had input to the report would have contacted Gwynedd Council and would have contacted Powys Council. But if you look at the report, members, it gives a negative view, I believe, and it does sadden me because it says in 5.7, no provision for electronic, which I accept. Then 3 days to complete this lengthy and complex process. And it could take up to 3 days. And then it goes, it may require an integrated impact assessment. And then it goes on, the significant costs involved, the printing costs, the training. Now, are we really talking about this, or are we talking about helping democracy in Caerphilly County Borough Council? I believe the report is not balanced. It gives more of a negative view to elected members. And I don't know what officers had input into this report, but I'm sure, you know, if you were going to do a report, you would at least have contacted Gwynedd or Powys and did some research, and perhaps they did, and perhaps they decided not to include this in the report. But as I said previously, and I've nearly finished, Chair, the Labour Senate members with the First Minister have confirmed in writing that there is going to be a list of proportional representation at the next Senate elections, which are going to be in 2026. And I think as a council, we should consider following. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Etheridge. Okay. Oh, sorry, I keep forgetting to put this mic on. Normally leave the one in the chamber on. So thank you very much, Councillor Etheridge, for moving that there. I will now go to Miss Jess Blair. Are you here, Jess?
I am indeed, thank you, Chair. If I could just share my screen briefly.
I do know you've got 5 minutes.
Yeah, I will be very short and sweet, I promise. Thank you very much for having me today. I'm Jess Blair. I am Director of the Electoral Reform Society in Wales. We're a campaigning organisation that work to make a better democracy, and I wanted to speak today in support of this motion to consult on a different way to basically do democracy at a local level in Wales. So the electoral system that we use now, I think you'll all be aware, is first past the post in Wales for local elections. And that is a voting system that basically essentially acts as a bit of a lottery. So what we've got here in this chart is some data from the 2022 local elections, which shows the disproportional gains each party have had in the Welsh local elections in 2022. And as much as a party can gain from the first past the post system, a party can also lose from the first past the post system. So we can also see the disproportional losses for each party in the Welsh local elections 2022. In terms of Caerphilly, the last local elections in 2022, as I'm sure you'll all be aware, there was a difference between seat share and vote share. So this is the data from 2022. The light blue is the seat share and the darker blue is the vote share. And as you can see, Welsh Labour have an overrepresentation in terms of their vote share, and every other party are underrepresented. So Welsh Labour at the moment do particularly well through first past the post, but that's not to say it would always be the case. And certainly back in 1999, that wasn't the case at all. In 1999, Labour had actually a really similar vote share to 2022. I think it's only about a percentage difference, but there was a reduced number of seats, especially compared to 1995, actually. And it was Plaid that increased their vote share and had an overrepresentation in terms of seats. So I think the message here is that first past the post is ultimately an unfair system, and there's no guarantee that it won't be one day unfair to you. So I want to look at the alternative very briefly. So this isn't a list system. The system that's in the Local Government Elections Wales Act is the single transferable vote system. Now, this is the system they use up in Scotland and in Northern Ireland for local elections. It's probably worth mentioning in Northern Ireland, they use manual ballot counting as well. That doesn't take 3 days. That takes 1 to 2 days as a typical trend. So STV really is a proportional system. It's one that elects multiple members per ward and allows voters to rank candidates in terms of preference. So voters can put 1 next to their favourite candidate, 2 next to their second favourite candidate, and so on. I think one thing that we've really seen in Scotland since they made the move in 2007 is that, you know, every seat is suddenly in play. It's not about tactical voting anymore. It's about, you know, councillors who work hard to represent their whole communities are likely going to pick up support in some kind of way. And if we can see the difference that we had in STV when it was introduced in Scotland, this is some data from, so this is the last election in 2003 that was done under first past the post. And you can see here, seat share, when there is seat share, is in dark blue, and vote share is in light blue. So you've got here in Midlothian, for example, the SNP having nearly 25% of the vote and having no seats. And then in 2007, when STV was introduced, you have much more kind of closeness and lack of disproportionality between seat share and vote share. So we can see it's had a really positive effect in Scotland. So final slide, and then I'll stop talking, I promise. But the main message I wanted to say here is that this motion, I think, is around a consultation. It's around having a conversation with the public about how our local democracy in Caerphilly can be better. And there are many things that do need strengthening. You know, Caerphilly had one of the lowest turnouts in the last local elections. I think it was the 3rd lowest in Wales. So there really is here, I think, an opportunity to have a really positive conversation with constituencies, with the community, about how democracy can be better. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, we go to the questions from the members now. First up is Councillor Connell, please.
Thank you, Chair. I see at point 5.7 of the report that it states there is no provision for electronic counting in the rules. Therefore, counting at a STV election will be a lengthy and complex process. Counts using STV could take up to 3 days to complete. This has also been highlighted when I've looked into it further. My 2 questions are, with the process of counting and re-allotting votes in STV becoming complex and time consuming, especially for larger elections, could you guarantee that if we change the voting system in Caerphilly, all the election staff, candidates and election agents would be fully abreast of the process? And my second question, we have had the first past the post system in Caerphilly for all our council elections. Residents are used to first past the post. Isn't there a greater chance that voters could unintentionally fill their ballot papers in incorrectly due to confusion in the system? That's my concern. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Tranter or Mr. Beecham, who's going to be?
I'll go first, if you like, Chair, and then Dave, if you want to add anything, please do so. So just before I start, just on Councillor Etheridge's point, I had some input into this report. I don't feel it's biased in any way. I think it's just setting out the facts that this system could give us. So I just want to put that on the record, if I may. our guess is that the counting will take longer, and without an electronic counting system, the chances of that are increased. There's no finance available for us to put in an electronic voting system, counting system. So this is going to cost. As regards the Senedd elections, now my understanding is each of the constituencies are still going to be first past the post, and then the list system, SDV, will be used for the list system. So the Senedd still will have first past the post. That's my understanding. It is a more complicated system, I think, and simply electors will need some time to get used to it. I think that's a fair comment. So I hope those questions, Councillor, I've asked. Dave, please, if you wish to add anything, can you do so? Thanks.
Mr. Beecham, have you anything else to add?
Not a great deal to add, Chair, only that just to clarify that the Senedd is looking to go to a list system. It's a different system to the single transferable vote. It's not the same. All I would say in reference to Councillor McConaughey's last point, there is some evidence of an increase in spoils under an STV system, but just to clarify that point. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, next up, Councillor Christine O'Hare, please. Councillor O'Hare. She's a excuse me, hang on the meeting. Sorry. Okay, I'll call you back in, Councillor O'Hare. Okay, Councillor Whitlam, please.
Thank you, Chair. Look, clearly no one likes change, and it will be a very difficult and complicated system to follow if it is adopted. Can I say, with respect to Structure, there is no first past the post constituency system for the next Senedd election. They've already announced that they're going to have this list system only and combine constituencies. But for most politicians, it probably in wards where your party is very strong, you'll be totally opposed to this system. And in wards where your party is very weak, you'll clearly be for the system. But personally, I think if we're going to take all the views of all of the citizens of Caerphilly County Borough Council, then it perhaps is important. At the moment, the number of political parties is extremely limited in elections to this authority. But there are probably good people in all parties with very positive ideas, and who knows what good creative ideas we are missing as a local council. And this system could perhaps ensure that some of those people are elected on to the council. And I think it works in Scotland, it works in Northern Ireland, it works in our twin city of Ludwigsburg. And in fact, they have electronic voting there. And when polls close at 10 o'clock, they tell me at the press of a button, they know the vote within literally a minute. They know the result of the council elections within a minute. Well, I think we're a long way off that yet in Wales, to be fair, but it's very positive and it's a great step forward. It opens it up. It's a system that I took a lot of persuading to support myself, but I understand the reluctance to support it. But I think it could be very positive for all of the people of this county borough, and I would urge people to support this notice of motion. That's why I signed it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Whittle. Councillor Jones. I believe there was a question.
Thank you. Thank you, right. I also, when I looked at it first, when I look at changing the voting system, I'm very nervous about it. But however, I think there should be a consultation, and I think a lot of things will come out, and that perhaps people will understand it a bit more, and perhaps I will. But I would like an explanation on 5.6. I've read it a few times, and I can't understand why that the boundary commission would have to get involved. Can somebody please explain to me 5.6? They say that if a council adopts the STCV, the number of councillors for each electoral ward is to be no less than 3, but no more than 6. So that means everybody has to change their wards around. It's something that could I have an explanation on that, please?
Okay, Mr. Beecham or Mr. Trampler, one of
Dave.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy to come in, Chair, if that's okay.
Yeah.
If the council was minded to resolve to change the voting system would require larger multi-member wards in order to work. So the legislation says that each ward would need to be between 3 and 6, a minimum of 3 and a maximum of 6 members. In order to achieve those new wards, obviously the Caerphilly area would have to undergo a review by the Boundary Commission, who are responsible for principal area wards. So yes, that's in order to allow the voting mechanisms to work and be in line with the legislation, and to make our wards between 3 and 6 members.
Could I come back on that then to say I'm still happy to have a consultation. I know in my ward, when they discussed changing the boundaries to make it a 3 person ward rather than a 2, before I was a councillor, there was a petition and there was real uproar on it. So it would be interesting, but I still think a consultation would be good for people to have to find out a bit more about it. So I will be voting for it, although yeah, that quite interested me, that point there out of it all. But okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Councillor Walker Williams, please.
Thank you, Chair. My query is point 8.81. It says financial implications. If the council decide to adopt STV, there will be a significant cost. Who pays for that? Please.
Mr. Beecham?
Sorry, Chair. Thank you, Chair. Any costs that for changing the voting system would fall to the council?
So we'll have to put a few more points on the council tax. Thank you.
That's for a different meeting, please.
Democracy costs, Chair.
Yeah, it is. Okay, Councillor Priest next, please.
Thank you, Chair. Isn't a question I want to ask, and why change something that's working? I can see with disgruntled people now and again, and invariably it seems to come from the parties that are not having enough votes. So all I'm saying is, besides the cost, I forgot about that. I put it on my list, but the cost is going to cost us more. Why change something that's working? Because if it was illegal or something like that, or it was definitely one-sided, it would change a long, long time ago. I think we are creating something here that we don't need. So that's my thing. I shan't be voting for it. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Priest. Okay, there's no other members shown. I do have a couple of questions. Councillor Sorrellis sent in a couple of questions for the mover of the motion. His first question is, have the movers of the motion investigated the additional costs of pursuing all the necessary consultation processes if this motion was adopted? Where would the additional cost be found without putting further challenges on a budget? Do you like to answer that, Councillor Etheridge?
The answer to that question is no, councillor Johnston. And I refer you to item 9, where Cabinet agreed funding for appointment of a specialist internal recruitment team.
Use your microphone, Kevin, please.
If you look at item 9, Cabinet agreed funding for appointment of a specialist internal recruitment team for HR. What price the cost of democracy?
Right, that didn't place the call. Let's look at the next one. The council is going through a process of transformation to ensure that it can fulfil its statutory duties. There are enormous pressures on staff to challenge working pressures to provide more efficient services. Councillor Etheridge has attended meeting and witnessed the extraordinary additional efforts made by our staff. How do the signatories of the motion justify the need to prevent this motion at this crucial time?
I've attended 2 transformation meetings which I've been impressed with. As the young lady from the Electoral Reform Society said, the turnout in Caerphilly was very low last time, and I believe by adopting this system, Team Caerphilly and the electorate we represent will be more effective. He signed the motion.
Okay, go on then, councillor Whittle, I'll let you.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, well, I agree with councillor Etheridge. We've got 40% in some wards turnout, and this is an attempt to actually encourage more people to become involved in local politics. If you look at social media, the Facebook pages, many people complain, but actually only 4 out of 10 people actually vote. This is an amazing way of actually encouraging people who perhaps have never become involved in politics before. We're trying to encourage younger people to become involved. When you've got to look around the chamber, I mean, there was a time for many years, for over 30 years, I was referred to as the youngest councillor. Sadly, that's no longer the case. I wish it was. But that was a fact. For over 30 years, I was the youngest councillor. Now we have a number of young councillors, but I would like to see a lot more. And this is a way of encouraging. There may be other people in other political parties, not necessarily in this area. It's mainly, with the greatest respect to Kevin and the independents, it's mainly Plaid Cymru and Labour who battle out the council seats, with some wards actually having independence. But we should be encouraging all political parties, even perhaps, I'm afraid, those political parties that none of us actually like at all. But it's just that they have a different point of view to us. That doesn't mean to say that they shouldn't be allowed to stand. And perhaps some of the younger people in those political parties are put off from standing because they realise they will never, ever, ever get elected. So this is a way of encouraging some of those people to become elected. I'm reading a book at the moment by Rory Stewart. It is the most remarkable insight into politics I have ever read. It's called Footsteps in Politics, I think. I urge everyone to read it. And he exposes all sorts of shenanigans in the House of Commons, and he really lays it bare. And I think that's what's needed is people to speak up and say this council, these same-minded people, and you can blame Labour and Plaid Cymru because that's what it's been for the last 40, 50 years in this area. But this could encourage new people to come forward, and that's all it's trying to do. It's trying to bring in the younger people who have different ideas. It's their future we must look to.
Thing is, how would that there bring in young people? That's not going to bring in young people. It's up to the political parties, who's, as you just said, has passed it year after year after year. It's up to us to bring the young people through.
It certainly is. I have no doubt. Labour and Plaid Cymru are probably doing just that, but what about the other political parties? We don't know that that the Conservative Party or the Liberal Party or the Green Party or there must be other parties have encouraged young people to stand, but they all say probably, what is the point? You know, what is the point? I've heard it said by Labour activists, I won't name him, but there was no point in putting 4 Labour candidates up in my own ward last time because we knew we wouldn't win. All right. Well, if that's what we all thought, then democracy dies because people just get re-elected and opposed. And I think that's a retrograde step. Years ago, when I first started in politics, elections was quite unusual in the 1960s. It was really unusual. Nobody had challenged the ruling group. Now, in some wards, we're going back to that, and it's a total about turn. You know, Labour doesn't challenge us. Our community council and town council seats, many seats go unopposed. In fact, in some areas, we're struggling to fill them. We're struggling. So this has to be a new way, I believe, of bringing younger people and different, not necessarily younger, of course, but different people on board. And I think it should be encouraged. This point of view.
Okay. Councillor Kent, please.
Oh, thanks, Chair. No, I've listened to quite a bit. You know, Lindsay took a bit of my thunder then about engaging people in local politics, because as we had the presentation from Miss Blair at the start, there's a big difference between the number of votes and the number of seats. Now, one party could have 50% of the vote but no seats. Another party could have 25% of the vote and 2 seats. And I think if we're going to be a forward-looking council, we would have to consider STV to give a truer representation of the will of the people. Because as Lindsay said, some places, no candidates are put up in opposition. And I think to get the public engaged in local democracy is something we all should strive for. It's not something change is good. Change is scary, yeah, but it's ultimately good. We've got enough examples of best practice where STV works. It's not a case of we're starting from scratch and our electoral services will be started from scratch. There are examples out there why it works, where it works, and how it works. And I think, personally, it's a good thing. STV is the way forward. And I think if we carried on first past the post for the next 10 years, then we thought, yes, we'll have a go at STV. And it was proved to be a success. We'd be a backward-looking council. We should be going forward and getting more people engaged. Most places with STV show increased turnouts in the vote, and I think that's a good thing. And it gives a truer representation, sorry, of the will of the people. Thank you.
Thank you. Hey, Councillor Case.
Thank you, Chair. I didn't realise this was a campaigning meeting tonight against one party against another. When you consider that our voting system has been in a long, long time, and not for 1 minute have I ever considered that a bigger number of people voting for one party against another is illegal or conscripted or made up. It's because people want to go and vote. I firmly believe that, I might be wrong, of course, that knocking doors, when it's till you lose about 6 inches off your legs over the last 30 odd years, isn't the thing that does it. Of course it does it. It's what people want, their party, what people want to vote for their party. You can change the rules as much as you like, but it's still not going to make the difference to the person's political feelings. And I'm a little bit concerned about this tonight. People saying about our party have never done this, our party have never done that. I don't know why. Perhaps that's why they're not having the votes. I ain't got a clue. But you don't try and fix it. At the end of the day, it's the individuals, and you can only do that by party, whatever your party's coming up with. And you ain't going to do it, or you can try and do it by altering the voting system. But it won't work. People will vote for who they have always voted for, who they want to vote for, because that's what they believe in. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Councillor Priest. Personally, it's not something I've ever been in favour of. No matter what they've done elsewhere, I always believe if you're voted for by the public, you're accountable to the public. I do not
Exactly.
agree with this list that we have here in Wales. I want to know who are they accountable to? They're not accountable to the public, they're only accountable to the party that put them there. And that to me is not democracy, that's anti-democracy. So I find first past the post works, okay, maybe because my party keeps winning. We don't do it in England as well as we do here, unfortunately. But I'm personally against it, so we will go to the vote.
No, it's something to.
Oh.
To move it.
Sorry, my fault there. So we need a member from the committee to move and second it, please.
I move it, Chair.
Yeah, second then.
I'll second it, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Clint. Okay, to the vote then, please, members.
I am going to vote again, Chair.
Okay, we haven't got a vote.
And I haven't got a vote, Chair. I haven't got a vote, Chair.
You have.
I haven't.
You haven't. Okay, so how do you vote, Councillor Priest?
Against.
Okay, Councillor Harris?
Against.
Is there anyone else hasn't got a vote? Okay, sorry. Oh, that's fallen. Sorry, Kevin. Okay, you. No.
The vote's going, can you?
They'll all be recorded.
Okay.
It's 4-4.
10 against 4. Thanks.
Okay, members, agenda item 8. Strategic equality plan, objectives and actions. Councillor Leonard Sterners. Well, it hasn't really give us the right information, please. Okay. Yeah, you're right. Thanks.
The purpose of this report is to seek the views of members and provides information on the council's draft strategic equality plan 2024 to 2028. The Public Sector Equality Duty in Wales came into force on the 6th of April 2011 and included a requirement for the public authorities to develop and publish a strategic equality plan every 4 years. The council has had a strategic equality plan in place since 2012 and has now updated this for the next 4-year cycle, 2024 to 2028. Strategic equality plans since 2012 have ensured that the council has a good foundation in place to continue to improve on our objectives and to assist us in meeting 3 of the wellbeing goals in the Wellbeing of Future Generations Wales Act 2015. The views of the Corporate Regeneration Scrutiny Committee are sought tonight on the draft Strategic Equality Plan 24 to 28 to inform the version to be presented to Cabinet and Council for approval and adoption as council policies.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll open it for questions, please, members. Any questions? There was none raised at or pre-meeting. Has anyone? Councillor Whittle, please.
Thank you, Chair. A great report, I have to say. I mean, people always say you're always criticising the Philly Council. I'm not. But I would like to ask a question on the Welsh language measures. Good money is being spent on teaching young people to speak Welsh. I think there are 27,000 Welsh speakers within the county, which is a substantial number of people. But what concerns me is I think we need some kind of Welsh language centre or hub where the younger people in particular can go to utilise and use the language. And that's a great worry to me. I really fear that you don't hear the Welsh language spoken on the streets. I have actually heard it spoken by children playing in my street because I live near Ysgol Ifor Bach. It's just at the back of my house. So I guess I would hear it, but and I've also heard it on one of the estates I represent at Henry Denny, but it's rare, and I think it needn't be rare. There are Welsh language groups dotted around in various cafes. I won't mention Coffee Vista, but there you are, I have. But where I do see Welsh language speakers actually congregating and meeting, but I think it would be a wonderful idea to have something more innovative, and I'm wondering whether we're doing any work with the Ysgol Gyrraedd Cwm Rhymni to perhaps ask young people if there's anything we can do where they would like to go as well, please. And could I say, sorry, this is not a question, but again, have on record as praising the equality statement of Caerphilly County Borough Council, and I will do it again on the LGBTQ work that has been done. The event in Caerphilly last year was excellent. I understand the next event is in Bargoed. If you had come and spoke to me 25 years ago about such events taking place in this borough, I would not have believed you. So again, praise where praise is due to all the officers and everybody involved with the efforts there. And again, I'd like that on record. That's absolutely excellent. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. It's on winning. Yeah.
Just to address the last point, the next fight in Caerphilly is going to be in Caerphilly again.
Oh, I thought it was Bargoed. I do
No,
apologise.
It'll be in Caerphilly again. We conducted a survey on site on the day of the event, and overwhelmingly people said that they wanted it back in Caerphilly Town Centre. So there's that point. In relation to your other point, we work very closely with Mentoriaeth Caerphilly. We also have a Welsh Language Forum, which is, again, coordinated by Mentoriaeth Caerphilly, but it brings together rhieni dros addysg Gymraeg, the Celffoedd Meithrin, the schools, health boards, the colleges, etc., all together, and we are working on a number of different projects at the moment. In relation to Ysgol Gyrraedd Cwm Rhymni, myself and my colleague go into Ysgol Gyrraedd Cwm Rhymni and other schools to talk about the importance of the Welsh language and how beneficial having that Welsh language skill is for the workplace, regardless of what school you're from. My colleague Geraint, he was educated in Lewis School Pengan, and his Welsh is probably better than mine. But you know, he's a former teacher of Ysgol Gyrraedd Cwm Rhymni, and so our links there are growing stronger. I think we're in Cwm Rhymni next week through Careers Wales, talking to Year 10 students about careers with the council, but also emphasising on their Welsh language skills, and that skill is not just a skill for school, it is a skill that can be used outside of school gates. And we've also got another one in a week's time down in St Kenneth Con. We'll be doing the same there.
Oh, that's. Could I come back to the Commissioner Chair? Can I say, Chair, that's really positive. I think for me, what is heartening is I'm going to name drop here, sorry, but I was with David Ewan 2 weeks ago, and to hear the Welsh football crowd singing Yma o Hyd, and the majority of those were not Welsh speakers, I think gives people like me heart. It certainly gave David heart, and probably a lot of money as well, but good luck to him. He's been singing it for 40 years, but there's a couple of new exciting groups. These groups are amazing, and I just wondered how we could encourage Ysgol Gyrraedd Cwm Rhymni. I'd love to see a Welsh language pop group somewhere in the county borough at one of our events. Just to encourage as well, because I think there's a huge amount of goodwill. I'm not a fluent Welsh speaker, and I am indeed an unashamed Welsh nationalist. And I always tell people wherever I go, just because you do not speak the language, it doesn't mean to say you do not support it. And I will not have, and I'm not saying anybody in this room is doing it, I will not have any language zealot tell me that they are better Welsh people than I, because the language is in their head. Because for me, if the language is in your heart, that is far more, as equally as important. In fact, I shouldn't put one in front of the other, should I? It is as equally as important, and I think it's encouraging with what we heard today. So, and if we need that, I'll do my best to get in, because he's a good friend of mine. But he don't come cheap.
Just before I bring in next speaker, just to chuck something out there. Now, we're trying to encourage members to council meetings, yeah,
Oh, I wish.
right? Why would it be possible, or would we have the resources to maybe say they are before council meeting, that we bring someone in to teach, especially someone like myself, into the council chamber just to teach us some phrases and much pick things up during each council meeting, might attract some people, more members to come in and to learn a little bit about this. That way we may only be a word or two, like Armagh and things like that there, but every word we use within the council chamber, all the better, wouldn't it?
Absolutely, yeah, we've got a resource package, you know, in the office. Incidental Welsh, it's called. It's one that Welsh Government use for all their committee meetings, which they've shared as a good practice example for organisations to use. So yeah, I'm more than happy to set something up.
Could we get like a teacher there or someone, you know?
Yeah, myself and my colleague Geraint can come in and do them. Yeah, no problem.
You'd have to run it past, this is just an idea, like, you know, you'd have to check the ones above us, but, you know, it would be good. I would be interested, you know, and you let like you learn the better, well, better than Irish, probably.
Almost similar.
Can't speak English, never mind Irish. Councillor Priest, please.
Fine, thank you, Chair. Chair, I want to learn skating, please. I also want to learn mountain climbing. I also want. Oh, I buy my foreign food from a Spanish shop just down by me. I'd like to learn Spanish as well, to ask them if you don't mind. Just what are we talking about? Welsh was in the valleys, of course it was. It's a it goes to the word. Welsh is Welsh, right? But it was all stopped by the coal owners there that came in. They said, if you want to speak Welsh, don't think you can get a job here with this. Now, I know we're not going to go down some sort of road like this again. That if you don't learn Welsh, you won't get a job. Hey, I'm a little bit concerned the way that this conversation. I can quite understand Lindsay Whittle, because Lindsay a bona fide nationalist. Nothing wrong with that at all. But I doubt whether he'd want to learn skating, right? I doubt whether he'd want to learn Spanish. All I am trying to say, let's try and keep it into perspective a little bit. I think we're going off on a bit of a tangent, more than one tangent here. Thank you, Chair, for giving me that little chance to have a word.
More of a ballet man.
Yeah, but please don't go mountain climbing after a couple of pints, would you?
Oh, yes.
Okay, Councillor Adams, please.
Thank you, Chair. I just remind us all that this is strategic equality plan, not just about speaking the Welsh language. But I'm going to come back to that, Lindsay, and say one of the nicest visits I made last year as the attendance champion was to Ysgol Evo Bach. And I had to apologise to the kids at their assembly because that was the only wholly Welsh school that I attended. But they were very kind to me. And of course, around the school, I heard Welsh being used outside of the classroom a few times. But at the other classes that I attended in the 6 other English language schools, where there was Welsh being used very, very highly within their Welsh lesson, they were also all encouraged to use it as much as possible when they were outside in the play yard, going from class to class, and please do use your Welsh that you've been learning and get used to learning it outside of that classroom. I'm sure that's not happening in anywhere near the number of schools that we want for those young children, but I applauded it. And yes, use of some of the Welsh that I could try to use in council or wherever, that is a greeting. I need to learn more. And thanks for reminding of that, Lindsay.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you, Councillor Adams. I don't think there was extra question there, was there, either?
It wasn't a question, it was just backing up, I suppose, what Lindsay said, that we need to hear it out in the streets a bit more for the kids to really know what they're talking about. having learned it in the classroom.
Okay, then,
Thanks,
members.
Chair.
Okay, can we have a move and a seconder then, please, so we can go for the votes? To recommend.
Move, Chair.
Okay, move.
Second, Chair.
Yeah.
Okay, so is the recommendation is on page 27, 3.1. The Future Corporate and Regeneration Scrutiny Committee has thought on the draft strategic equity plan, authority plan as well, 24 to 28. In a form, a version to be presented to Cabinet and Council for approval and adoption as council policy. Scrutiny is asked to recommend this statutory cabinet. So we have a move in a second. So go to the vote, please, members.
I've no vote again, Chair.
Okay, Councillor Harris, how do you vote?
For.
Or Councillor Priest, how do you vote? You're on mute. You're on mute, Denver. So thumbs up for Denver, thumbs down against.
Right, I just got it back there then, Chair. Thank you. It wasn't, I'll go for.
Thank you. Okay, that's passed. Thank you very much, members. Okay. Before we go to item 9, if anyone doesn't need to be here, you can go.
Yep, I gotta go now, Chair. Thank you very much for permission. I appreciate it. Good night, all.
I'll make sure next time if any officers are not needed, they can leave them, please.
No start, Denver.
Gotta dive in straight away. See, Walter, dive in straight away. Never go at the back of the queue. Never go at the back of the queue.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, item agenda 9, recruitment update. Councillor Nigel George, please.
Thank you, Chair. Purpose of the report is to update corporate and regeneration scrutiny committee in relation to the work undertaken to address the recruitment and retention challenges experienced by the council. In summary, scrutiny members will be aware from the report to council on the 24th of November 2022 entitled Workforce Capacity and Associated Challenges that the council was facing recruitment and retention challenges across the whole organisation. In many service areas and the services affected seem to be under increased demand in accordance with the national picture. Members will also be aware that this is not just a specific challenge to the Philly. Cabinet held a meeting on the 19th of October 2022, agreeing to fund for further appointment of specialist internal recruitment team. This report provides information on the work to date of this team, the wider people services team, and their planned work for the future. I'd like to move the recommendation the Corporate and Regeneration Scrutiny Committee are asked to note the contents of the report. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor George. Okay, Councillor Enright, you have a couple of questions, Gareth?
Yeah, thanks, Chair. I'll just come to a couple of observations and my question at the end, if I may. As I said to you in the pre-meeting, I was quite disappointed with this report because I think it falls short on a number of areas. It doesn't give enough detail. And look, I'm the first to say this is going to be a difficult nut to crack, and you're not going to do it in 6 months. Many strings to the bow, and that's what's needed. But look, an observation, 5.11, I've noted the new starters, which is absolutely fantastic, but there's nothing to base that on. If we had further information as to the leavers and how many have left, 829 recruited, but if only 2 left, that's absolutely fantastic. That's a good news story. But if 1,100 left, then that paints a completely different picture. So I think moving forward for the next report, I'd like to see a lot more information. So using 5.11 as an example, perhaps we can have natural wastage, retirements, those that have gone out on sickness, those who have gone out on disciplinaries, because that paints a fuller picture. as I said within the pre-meeting, Chair, I think, you know, and I mean this respectfully, I do, but 5.18 to 5.23, those actions are completely woolly. There's no substance there at all. For the recruitment team, yes, they should be working with the heads of service, but that shouldn't be an action. I should need to know that. They should be looking at measurable activities, quantifiable targets. You know, there's no actions relating to retention. Now, retention is just as important as recruitment, and yet there's nothing within the next 12 months, 6 months, whenever the next report is going to be. This is now the second year of me being a councillor, and I'm fed up of bumping my gums about graduate programs. Now, I've been told every time I raise it, yes, we're doing it. Yes, we're looking at it. There's nothing in this report about graduate programs. There's nothing in this report about sponsorship programs. And there's a fantastic program called Network 75. Now, that is working with colleges, universities, whereby an organisation is a sponsor for those individuals doing courses. There's nothing like that in here. You know, there's no events. It just really falls short, and I was really disappointed to read this, to be absolutely honest with you, Chair. So that's my rant over, that's my observations over. 5.12.1.2.3 makes reference to some job offers, and I was just wondering how many were actually declined. I can see that they were obviously offered, but I'm just curious as to how many actually took those roles up. So just to come back to my previous rant, if we can have a stronger report in the next one, I think that would be really, really useful. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Henry. Mr Donovan, have we got the figures of people who's left in the same period as those we put it?
Thank you, Chair. I'll give you comments, Councillor, not wishing to sound defensive, Chair, but the team whom you have been in post for 5 months, and the wider people services team have been doing work up to now. We've been working on the priorities within the council, and you'll see that they were catering, housing, care. Lots more work being done in the background. It's often difficult to know how much detail to put into these reports for you. And Chair, it may be a conversation we could have with you if something is coming in the future. Perhaps it would be more of a presentation to give you more detail. That's something I'm happy to discuss with you, Chair, if that would help. In terms of leave as Chair, the reasons people employees leave are reported in the Director of Performance Assessments that members have access to and are reported regularly. So I can certainly send the link to Councillor Enright and the rest of members if that would help. But as I said, I'm more than happy to have a conversation with you about how any such future information comes into this committee.
Yeah, so what I would suggest, members, you know, I think a presentation, because I think the first one we did do a presentation, don't we? Yeah. No, I'm not in. Wherever it was. Yeah, so I think what we're doing, members, if people can feed in some information to me, what they would like to see, I can then have a word with Lynn, and then for the next update, we'll feedback and that information, so then that we do get.
I don't think we'll be gone past the 7:30, if that long.
Councillor Adams, okay, you've done it. Okay, so that be okay, Gary? We can hopefully then get the figures that we need.
Yeah, that's fine, Chair. It was just, is there a response to my question? 5.1.2.3, how many roles were declined? Just, if there's not, there's not, don't worry.
You got any idea how many was declined, how many people turned down?
Not people, Chair, I can certainly get that information.
Okay, so get that sent up. Got Ed's here as well. Ed?
Yeah, thanks, Chair, and thanks for the opportunity. I'm only speaking really because there's no other members that have raised their hands, except we could add a lot more detail into this report. We're heading towards a situation where we'll be awash with that detail. But I do think it's important, picking up Councillor Whittle's earlier point, that we do recognise the achievements of the team in that 5-month period. You know, when you talk about those roles in catering, care, etc., housing, those were roles that we were getting no responses to at all. So to be able to report 100+ responses to some of those job adverts and the number of people we're then able to convert, that's real workers on the front line. And whilst I accept the report may not do it for Councillor Enright, I couldn't let the moment pass really without putting my thanks on record to the team for a fantastic job that they've done thus far. You'll also recognise in the report there is reference to a recruitment strategy. There will be references as well to that retention piece which Councillor Enright has just articulated, but we're getting more people through the door. You'll see in the first table, early part of the report, that our full-time equivalents are 300+ now compared to 4 years ago, that our head count has increased by a significant number. So we're getting more people in, and I think the investment in that recruitment team, and just to cover off the point that Councillor Etheridge made earlier on in the discussion on a notice of motion, whilst Council set some money aside to appoint that recruitment team, we did not need that entire set of money to recruit. In fact, the team is much smaller than previously articulated. So apologies, Chair, if I'm sounding somewhat defensive, but it is important when great work is done that it's recognised, particularly in forums like this. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you very much. Very much. So we're happy with that, members. So as I said, if you think to send me, email me your ideas, I will then have a conversation with Mr. Donovan and we'll come up with something to present at the next time, the 6 month period. Okay, so this report is for Norton, so no vote required. Thank you, members. I thank you, Lynn, to you and your team for the hard work, and if you're no longer required, you can leave. Not councillors though, please. Okay, members, agenda item 10, Capital Strategy Report 2024 to 2025. Councillor Lynn Taylor, am I right this time?
Thank you, Chair. The purpose of the report before us this evening is the Council to approve the Authority Capital Strategy Report for the 2024-25 financial year. The report cross-references to the report by the Corporate Director of Education and Corporate Services, Capital Budgets and Treasury Management Annual Strategy, Capital Finance, Potential Indicators and the Minimum Revenue Provision Policy Report for 24-25. The strategy outlines the principles and frameworks at a very high level that shape the authority's capital investment programme proposals. The principal aim is to deliver an affordable programme of capital consistent with the financial strategy that contributes to the achievement of the Council's priorities and objectives as set out in the authority's corporate plan, consider associated risks, recognise financial constraints over the longer term, and represents value for money. The key objectives, the strategy defines at the highest level how the capital programme decision making identifies the issues and options that influence capital spending and sets out how resources and capital programme will be managed. In addition, the capital strategy should comply with the Prudential Code for Local Authority Capital Investment introduced through the Local Government Act 2003. The key objectives of the code are to ensure that capital investment plans are affordable, prudent and sustainable. The capital strategy sets out the framework for capital investment decisions. The strategy for funding this investment is underpinned by the Prudential Code for Local Authority Investment, which was introduced by the Local Government Act 2003. The Potential Code has the following key objectives: the capital investment plans are affordable, prudent and sustainable. The Treasury management decisions are taken in accordance with good professional practice. That local strategic planning, assessment management and proper option appraisals are supported. And the recommendations shown at 3.1 in the report. Thank you, Chair.
Very much. The debate is now open, members. Okay, I see no hands in the chamber here or in line, so can I move in a second, please?
Chair.
Moved. Councillor Jeremiah. Seconded.
I'm happy to second it, Chair.
I take your pick there.
Okay, let David go.
Adams then. Thank you, Councillor Adams. Okay, to the vote now, members.
will vote again, Chair.
Okay, do I,
For.
or councillor Priest? Still there? There. Okay, that's moved. Thank you very much, members. Okay, item 11, Treasury Management Annual Strategy, Capital Finance Potential Indicators and Minimum Reserve Provision Policy for 2024, 2025. That took longer than the last of the years. Okay, Councillor Leonard Stenner again.
Thank you, Chair. The report before us is submitted for approval of the authority's annual strategy for treasury management. Approval is sought from the full council for a data set of potential indicators relevant to treasury management and capital finance. The report also cross-references to the report for the Deputy Chief Executive on revenue and capital budgets also considered in this meeting. The report seeks approval of the minimum reserve provision policy to be adopted by the authority for 24-25. Revised Code of Practice for Treasury Management and Public Services provides that an annual strategy be submitted to members on or before the start of the financial year to outline the activities planned within the parameters of the Treasury Management Policy Statement and Treasury Management Practices. The Local Government Act 2003 also requires the authority to set out its treasury management strategy for borrowing for the forthcoming year and to prepare an annual investment strategy, which sets out the policies for managing its investments, giving priority to the security and liquidity of these investments. Under Section 15 of the 2003 Act, the Welsh Government issued guidance on local government investments, which is incorporated within the report. Under the provisions of the Local Government Act 2003, the local authorities and subsequent amendments and the SIPTAs, the Potential Code for Capital Finance in Local Authority, the authority is obliged to approve and publish a number of indicators relevant to capital finance and treasury management. With effect from the 1st of April 2008, Welsh Government introduced the Local Authorities Regulation, which requires the authority to prepare an annual minimum revenue provisional policy statement. This report sets out what the authority needs to comply with this requirement. Recommendations are shown at 3.1 to 3.1.7 of the report. Chair.
Thank you very much. Okay, debate is now open, members. Okay, I see no hands up, so let me thank though Leanne and Rhiannon for coming.
Say something, if anyone is interested in treasury, to have a members seminar on the 22nd of May 24. So if anything's open to all members, if anyone wants to come along,
Yeah.
give them a bit better background.
Is it on Teams, is it?
It'll be on Teams.
Yeah, is it on Teams? Yeah, okay, thank you very much. Okay, so Steve will be happy that you sent you here and not a question. Okay, members. The recommendations on page 88, 3.1, that the Corporate and Regeneration Scrutiny Committee considers and comments on the content of this report and appendices, and the following recommendations prior to consideration by Council. 3.1.1, that the strategy be reviewed quarterly within the Treasury Management Monitoring Reports presented to the Corporate Regeneration Scrutiny Committee, and any changes recommended be referred to Cabinet in the first instance and the Council for a decision. Authority will also prepare quarterly reports on Treasury Management activities. 3.1.2, that the Potential indicators of treasury management be approved as per Appendix 5. 3.1.3, that the potential indicators for capital finances be approved as per Appendix 6 and 7, sorry. 2.1.4, that members adopt MRP policies as set out in Appendix 8. 3.1.5, the continuation of the 2023-24 investment strategy and the lead into financial institutions and corporates in accordance with the minimum credit rating criteria disclosed within this report. 3.1.6, that the authority continues to adopt the investment grade scale as a minimum credit rating criteria to assess the credit worthiness of certain counterparties when placing investments. 3.1.7, that the authority adopts the monetary investment duration limits as set in Appendix 3 of the report. We are asked to support these recommendations. So, moving seconder, please.
Could you just repeat that, Chair? Jokes. I'm moving, Chair.
Okay, moving a second.
Second, yeah.
Councillor Whittle, okay, to the vote, members.
No vote for me, Chair, so I'm for.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Harris. Yeah, some of these are better than that. No. Okay, that's moved, members. That was a lot quicker tonight, members, than I thought, but that was a very busy agenda. But thank you very much to all the officers attending and for all of you attending. And of course, thank you to our the staff who do a wonderful job each and every time and somehow get us up and running. Okay, so have a good night, members.